I'd like to start with a little mental exercise. You've gotten up, you've stretched, that's great. A little mental exercise that I'd like you to do for the next few minutes. So you don't have to say anything, just think about what I'm going to guide you through. First of all, I'd like you to think of a number, each of you individually. I'd like you to think of a number between 2 and 9. Okay, no less than 2, no greater than 9. Okay, everybody have your number? Okay. Now, what I want you to do is take that number that you've selected, and I want you to multiply it by 9. Okay, you now have a product. Now, if you need to use the paper, go ahead and do so. But I realize it's a little late in the afternoon. The blood that was up here this morning is now down here thanks to lunch. All right, so you have your product now, right? It should be a 2-digit number. So far, so good? All right. What I want you to do is I want you to take those 2 digits, and I want you to add them together. Okay? You now have a sum. I want you to take that sum, and I want you to subtract 5. Okay, now here comes the hard part. I want you to take that difference now that you have. I want you to take that difference, and I want you to correspond it to the appropriate letter of the alphabet. So 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, so on and so forth. So you now have a letter. I want you to take that letter, and I want you to think of the first country that begins with that name. Okay, got your country? Okay. I want you to take the last letter of that country. Okay, last letter of the name of the country, and I want you to think of an animal that begins with that name. Got it. All right. Now I want you to take that animal, last letter of that animal, and I want you to think of a color that begins with that name. And at about this point, usually about 75% of the audience is wondering, why am I thinking about orange kangaroos in Denmark? How did I do? Not bad. Okay. I did this in front of 200 executives a few years ago, and I had 175 jaws drop. How did he do that? Well, time does not allow me to tell you. I've only got 9 minutes here, folks. But what it really boils down to is what we call predictability of behavior. See, I know that for most of us, how we grew up, how we were programmed, I can usually get about 75% of people thinking orange kangaroos in Denmark. Now, granted, there are variations. Depends upon where you were educated, what your interests are, and so on. But for the most part, in the U.S., I can get orange kangaroos in Denmark out of you guys. So the question then becomes, how do we apply this in the workplace? And it has to do with understanding behavior and being able to predict behavior. And why is that important in today's workplace? Well, let's take a look. You've spent the last couple of minutes observing me. You've developed an opinion. And so for the remaining 7 minutes, you're going to validate that opinion. Right? Yeah. This guy? No. Okay, never mind. Do I want to continue? No, I do. But what you're really judging is 2 things. Actually 3. But let's talk about the first 2. First of all, you're observing my interactive energy. How much energy do I intentionally use when I connect with other people? Now, those who are perceived as being more low in their interactive energy, we often define these people as quiet, shy. All right? We've also used they ask questions rather than direct tell. Those who are higher in their interactive energy are more open, animated. That doesn't mean they're cartoons. They talk with their hands. You know, like several presenters here who have said, you know, if I had my hands tied behind my back, I couldn't talk. All right? So each and every one of us is somewhere on this line. Now you couple that with the second continuum, which is emotional exposure. How much of our inner feeling do we expose when we communicate with others? Some are very open with their emotions. We call these people emotional. They wear their emotions on their shirt sleeve. Okay? They're very people-oriented, relationship-based. Others are more closed with their emotions. They are more task-oriented, formal, strict. And again, each and every one of us are somewhere on this continuum. So what we do, what you've been observing here in my presentation and in every other presenter, you've kind of assessed, okay, where do they fit in my organization? Are they good? Are they a good match? Does their behavior equal what I'm looking for? And what we do is we give labels to these different behavioral styles, if you would. For those who are perceived as being more closed with their emotions and low in interactive energy, we call you orderlies. You're the analytical types. For those of you who are low in interactive energy and more open with your emotions, we're going to call you agreeables. You're the amiable ones, delightful. Again, more relationship-based. For those of you who are high in interactive energy and closed with your emotions, we're going to call you a commander. And for those of you who are more open with your emotions and high in interactive energy, we're going to call you neurotic. No, we're going to call you extroverts. You're the more expressive of the group. Okay? Let me illustrate this in a slightly different way so you get an understanding as to the behaviors. What kind of behaviors? The commanders, if they had a motto, it would be, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. I don't care how you do it, just get it done. Okay? If the extroverts, the expressive ones, had a motto, it would be ready, fire, aim. Whoops, that didn't work, let's try it again. Okay, they're the creative ones. Let's run up the flagpole, see who salutes. The orderlies, ready, aim, 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 never fire. Because they're never sure. They don't have enough data to be comfortable. The agreeables, on the other hand, why do you need a gun? Let's talk about this. Okay? But it's important to understand that, because as we come together in groups, the best groups have all 4 of the behavioral styles in them. The commanders bring the structure and the leadership. The orderlies bring the data, the research. The agreeables bring the consensus building, the cohesiveness. The extroverts bring the beer. They bring the creativity. I poke fun at extroverts a lot. I'm a borderline one, although I'm more of a commander, really. But the idea here is that we have to be open to all kinds of people and their behaviors, not take anything for granted. Everybody brings something to the party. Emotional intelligence is the ability, though, to flex. Now, if you haven't guessed, I'm kind of more of a commander-type person. All right? Get in, get done, get out. I see 2 minutes. I got to live with that. Not that I want to, but I got to live with that. Okay? So what happens then is we call it flexibility. How comfortable, how much energy am I going to devote to making you feel comfortable working with me? You know, if I walked in and my client, my customer, my team worker is an agreeable, I've got to adjust. Otherwise, my bull in the china shop mentality will turn them off. All right? So what we're talking about is improving our interpersonal communication skills without adjusting our values or standards. Now, how do you do that? Well, you're going to have to come to the full session because I'm out of time. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention.